I'm Sidra. I'm Sidra, HR intern at WomenAscension. We are here with the workshop on understanding the tarot with our mentor, Symone Lewis. She is a diversified person when it comes to her skills and abilities. She is an entrepreneur. She voices for females, and she is on a new journey of the oracle world. She is here to share her knowledge with you, and she shares her knowledge through a channel as known as the Wo Child Experience. Thank you for taking out for our time, Ms. Symone. Over to you.
Okay, well, thank you much. I'm honored that you guys would join me for this talk. And I'll get more into how I even came to this. But yes, thank you, Maheen, for inviting me to present this topic. It is using tarot on your self-love journey. Okay, so a little bit about me is I came to tarot, and I don't think it's uncommon. I think a lot of people probably had a similar experience that when life deals you like blows and you're kind of feeling around like what to do, you know, you get real spiritual, right? So that was I come from a religious background. You know, up I went to a Protestant school and I was baptized as an adult. So I have a religious, traditional religion, you know, religious belief. But also growing up, I was also fascinated with astrology, right? And the concept that you can use the stars to kind of, you know, glean information on people's personality, and all that came together. Okay. So I am also a clinical psychologist. That's what my education is in. And I'm also an entrepreneur. But entrepreneurship is another test of wills, right? And I used tarot also on my entrepreneurial journey, which I'm still on, okay? So there's a lot of ups and downs with that. But my life transition that brought me directly to the tarot was actually a troubling marital situation. And then subsequently a divorce. And then now kind of that process of rebuilding, okay? Now, I know all of us are, it's just me, my face is showing. And when I thought about doing this, I was thinking about it being kind of a back and forth, because I do want to get a sense of what you guys' background is in tarot, because I'm totally, you know, self-taught, and it's relatively recent for me, probably about 2 or 3 years. So if you guys want to tell me in the chat what your experience with the tarot is, like, do you read on your own, anything like that? Or if you guys even want to just come on and even if you don't show your face, kind of give me a sense of what your experience is with tarot.
Yeah, can I share my experience?
Please.
Yeah, okay, so I'm really attracted to everything related to horoscope. So it started with horoscope actually, and I have a friend of mine who's a tarot reader and into horoscope. She taught me a bit about it. She's here with us as well. So if you have time, she can share her experience with tarot reading. She's very young. She's 21 or maybe 20. She's even younger than me. And she could give us like an insight on community in Lebanon, because it's still very tight. So if you have time to listen to her, maybe we can know more about tarot in Lebanon in general.
That fascinating. I would love that. I think we have to make sure that happens.
Hello, I'm Yara. I'm the friend she was talking about actually. I have said in the chat, I have been practicing witchcraft for about 10 years. I'm nearly 21 and I've been reading tarot for 6 years now. I'm also studying to be a psychologist. So that's a big plus for me. And I've always been into witchcraft, spirituality, astrology, and tarot in general. So I'm really happy to be in this meeting with.
Oh, no, it's an honor for me, because this whole process for me is kind of, you know, in the process of becoming spiritual and finding, you know, following the signs and synchronicities. It's about serving, you know, and I've always struggled with, is it enough to share? So I'm so happy to hear that you're 6 years in Okay, this is going to be great. The insights that you share are going to be amazing because for me, this is kind of an overview, right? I mean, you can always keep learning tarot. So thank you. So excited. Anybody else want to share if they have any experience with tarot? I mean, I guess if you're here, I mean, has anybody not done tarot? Anybody here? No? Everybody's familiar? Okay. Okay. Why I even agreed to do this, I think this is a good idea for me to do, is that your experience is the best teacher, really. And you're fine in your getting more involved in tarot. It's going to be your experience while you're, understanding and translating this language of the tarot. Okay, you are tapping in, you are connecting the spirit, and things are going to happen. And my YouTube channel is called Woo Child Experience, not to be like pejorative or minimized, but it's really awesome to think about this access we have to more, right? Such that you can get a card and it's exactly what it's supposed to be, or it's just you said, you know what I'm saying? It's really awe-inspiring. So like it was mentioned before, my whole entrepreneurial thing is shoulder bear. Okay, I had a product, I invented a product, got the patent on the product, struggled with not having for the product. So that's still in, but the product, I'm just to let you guys know, is Bear Elastics, and it's for off the shoulder fashions. And it's a little unique device. You see it right here. And it keeps women's off the shoulder fashions off the shoulder. So if you're an off the shoulder lover like me, you know the struggles of constantly having to pull at your sleeves and feeling insecure in your fashions. So the concept of the business as a whole was about women empowerment and confidence and body positivity. So all those things come together on this whole self-love journey, and it all comes together with the tarot as well. So how are we going to do this? Because I know I kind of talk fast, and I do want this to be, I want this to be somewhat conversational, even though I do have the little PowerPoint. But does anybody, if you want to jump in, please do that, or if you want to raise your hand. But I want this to be interactive, even though it's midnight for you guys out there. Does that make sense? Am I talking too fast, you guys?
No,
you
it's fine. It's fine. Personally,
Okay.
I understood everything.
Personally, what?
I understood everything you just said, so we're good.
Okay, thank you. So first question, what is tarot? I mean, to talk about the magnitude of it is beyond the scope of this, but basically it's cards, okay, that we're using to communicate messages, receive messages, answer questions, and the like. And when I think of tarot, it traditionally has certain parts to it, because there's tarot and then there's oracle. Okay, tarot, you're generally going to have a certain setup. Okay, there's going to be a certain groups of cards that you can expect to see, and we'll get into that later. As far as how it works, it's again that awesomeness of we can't even get into the metaverse and the dimensions and all that stuff of exactly how it works. But what it is you are actually translating or learning a language, I think, on how to connect with spirit, your intuition, or whatever. And so tarot is a way to get these messages clearly. So I look at it as learning like another language. Does anybody have any thoughts on that? How tarot works? Yeah, or you want to share in your experience? How do you think, what is it? How does tarot work?
I'm not sure, but I think maybe it's about energies. Like your energy picks the card for you. So I don't know if it's true. Maybe like it's a game of energies. The reader, the reader's energy mixed with the ones being read to. So I don't know.
No, but I like how you say you think it's the energies, because really, if you think about getting messages, because I can get messages and I can read for somebody, and it's like, they're like, it's so uncanny how this is even possible, that this is my story, right? Like coming through,
Can I
like
say
what
something?
Yes, please.
I would just like to say that it also heavily depends on the reader, as you said, because as a first step alone, each person has their own way of reading. For example, I know other readers, and we each have such a different way of reading. For example, I use intuitive reading, where I shuffle till the cards jump out for me. And I think it's really interesting how we each have our own independent traits when it comes to tarot, and we each interpret a card on our own. I just find this really, really interesting and really, really fascinating that you also affect the cards.
I agree. I agree. I agree. I totally agree. Because and we'll go through that, because you can get what I haven't tested, and that will be interesting to do, is how different people read similar spreads, and maybe we can play with that a little bit today, just for kicks. It's whatever we want to do. But today, what I was thinking, what our approach would be, just because it kind of makes sense to me, but if it's out of order, feel free to ask questions and stuff, but really just to introduce spreads first, a little bit about color and numbers. I mean, numbers is a big deal. I mean, actually, all of this is a big deal, but like I said, this is like an overview. The major arcana and the Fool's Journey, the minor arcana, which provides kind of the details, and that help with understanding messages, and then the importance of your imagination, okay, with this process as well. So let's, just jump in. As far as spreads, the possibilities are endless, okay? So, but along with the spreads is also kind of the question, right? Kind of like, what are you seeking to glean from your session, okay? So like you can have a spread could be one card. Like say your question is, what is going to be my energy, or what is going to be my energy for the day, okay? And so you can pull a card and expect that card to be the answer, right, to your question. Okay, that's how you're going to interpret it based on the question that you asked initially. Okay, and spreads in and of themselves, they give you a framework. Okay, so you can ask the same question: what is going to be the energy of my day? And you can have a 3-card spread, right? And you can dictate what the meanings of those placements are going to be. So commonly with the 3-card spread, past, present, future, okay? Or you can say that my 3-card spread, or what today my 3-card spread is going to be mind, body, spirit, or it's going to be up, down, and sideways. I mean, but you're creating this relationship with your cards. So like it was mentioned earlier, that's why people interpret things differently. They ask questions differently. They phrase, all these things are unique to the reader as well, which is fine because it's your intuition, because we're talking about your self-love journey. So if you are creating an environment for you to glean these answers, right? It's all going to be unique to you. It's all going to be unique to you. So it only enhances your meditative abilities, your intuitive abilities. It's making space and time for you to connect with spirit, which in and of itself is important, right? And helpful. So, and then you can go on. There's 10 cards, there's 5 cards. I mean, you can make up all your own spreads. I commonly use like a 7-card spread, Celtic Cross, which is like 10 cards and more, actually, is another common spread. But you can learn all kinds of spreads. And if you get any kind of deck, which I would recommend if you're starting out, get a beginner's deck, because it is overwhelming. I mean, it's 78 cards. And for you to think, if you had to imagine being, in 2nd grade and having to learn, all the letters, right? And there's, like, say it was, it's overwhelming. So like a starter deck, and I recommend the Rider-Waite, because that is the most popular, the Rider-Waite deck. This is an example of a starter tarot card, okay? And you'll see here that it tells you what the name of the card is, which says Queen of Wands here, and then it tells you a descriptor of the cards, okay? So when you get these decks, they'll come with like a booklet, right? Obviously, I'm talking to people who already know this, so you know what it is. So I'm saying get like a beginner's to start, and it tells you what the nature of the card is. So this deck, they're saying that their Queen of Wands is a woman over 25 years, green eyes, blonde to red hair, positive energy, outspoken. Okay. Well, as you grow in your your own relationship, this will mean something unique to you. It'll have the same type of energy. You'll have the same sense of what this, this particular card means. But for the starters, it's good to have like a little sense of what the card usually means generally across the board. So the important, so the spread, how you lay the cards out, but more importantly, also, what is the question that you're asking? And, you know, that can be a whole session on its own, how to phrase your questions. But in general, you want to ask open-ended questions. There are ways to do yes and no, but open-ended questions allow for a little bit more nuanced response, and it allows for you to, you know, input your intuition into the whole thing as well. So anything you guys have to say about the spreads? Or any additional things you can add, somebody, please?
Not really, but I just have a question about tarot reading in general. I wanted, and from your opinion, do you think that anybody can read tarot, or it's like a calling that, you know, it awakens something in you and it pushes you to read tarot? Because personally, I've been interested in horoscope, as I said earlier, and I love getting tarot readings, but I never felt the need to actually learn tarot. So I don't know if it's just because I have my friend who does it, or it's because it's a calling and a few people can actually do it.
It's my opinion. I think everyone can do it. From what I've gleaned, it's not necessarily a psychic thing, but that helps. You know, there are some people, I think, you know, I mean, they say everybody's psychic. So maybe this helps you tap into whatever it is that's psychic, right? But from what I've learned is that it's almost like a language. Like, you don't have to be psychic. You don't have to know yourself to be psychic, to kind of learn the language and be able to read tarot accurately.
Oh, okay, so it's like a mutual connection. It might be awakened because of you know, if you're a psychic, and if you actually learn how to read tarot, it might strengthen your sixth sense in a way.
I would say I would think so, but I'm not going to say definitively. You know what I mean? Like, they say everybody's psychic. Do I know that for sure? No, but do I think everybody is psychic? Yeah. I think there is something else. I think, you know what I mean? We're all able to kind of rise to another consciousness. You see what I'm saying? If we intend to, right?
Exactly. Like, we should develop this. I mean, yeah, I think that too.
Yeah. So, but I encourage it. So if you don't think you're psychic, don't let that stop you, you know, from at least exploring it, right? I mean, so you're here, so you know, you are obviously have an interest in it, or a calling, right, towards it. So somebody say, Munisa? Okay. So colors and numbers are going to be important, as well as the label, or the kind of the definition of each card. Okay. So because colors have meaning, and you guys know that. So I just added this just as a reminder that, you know, this stuff has been going, where did the tarot even come from? Like, how long has it been around? I mean, it's almost like some elements of it have gone back since the beginning of time. I mean, when you think about all the symbolism and where did the symbolism originate? So all these things, they're very like ancient, like wisdom, right? That I think has been lost over the years, that I think can be accessed by exploring this tool. So color is relevant in tarot, just like it is in marketing and all that stuff. We know how important people know it is, and what color means, but what you know about color also is going to play a role in how you interpret your readings. Okay. So in general, red is going to mean, you know, passion. It's going to mean fire. It's going to mean, you know, active, you know, or it's going to mean danger, right? Like, you know, like like out here in the US, you know, we have stop sign, you know, so I mean, red, it evokes certain emotions. Okay. Just like green is associated with growth, abundance, money, you know, and all the chakras, all the things that the colors mean to you. And in general, they also come into play when you're reading a card. Okay. So without knowing, like, well, this is the Queen of Wands again, but one of the things you'll notice is her color is kind of yellow, right? Now we don't have yellow on our color list here, but this is, you know, it's close to orange, but it's, you know, it's about joy. It's about happiness. It's about self-confidence, right? It's about, you know, sunshine, right? So these things, you know, at just those base levels, they add a level of meaning and interpretation to your readings. Okay. Now numbers, it's the same way. Okay. You know, I will go into it later, but we talk about us being on a journey, but just like in Tarot, in there, what we have, what's called the Fool's Journey, where, you know, it's his journey of life. What are the steps that it's taking the Fool, which is really us, whoever the querent is, what steps are they taking to get to self-actualization? What are the steps needed for them to get to a place of their most perfect, like, potential, basically, right? What are these rites of passages, right? And that's what is outlined, we'll find in the tarot. Okay. And so that's why numbers, you know, just the sequence of events, that also plays a role. So the numbers have meaning. 1, that's the start of stuff, right? So when you see a 1, you think of initiative, okay? And then 2, kind of the balancing, the duality, the harmony. 3, creativity. 4, stability. You think like a table that has like 4, you know, legs. Change, progress. 6, care, duty, responsibility. 7 is kind of going inward, right? We'll talk about that later. But 8, power, success, abundance. 9, integration, you know, coming to the 10, which is completion. So integration, you know, is how do I take all these parts, all these separate parts, and bring them together? And on the Fool's Journey, it's kind of, what are all these parts about myself? What are all these lessons that I've learned, and how do I bring it together to complete some kind of whole? Okay, that's the goal. So next, let's talk about the major arcana and the journey. Okay, so the major arcana. So if there's 78 cards in a traditional tarot deck, okay, in a tarot deck, there's 22, which are the major arcana. Okay, and like I said, these are like signposts along the self-love journey. Okay, and I do have them here. I have all 22 here, but I'm just going to kind of share with you the concept of the Fool's Journey, which is, you know, you start at the beginning. Here the Fool is he's starting out, and the story goes, he meets, you know, he comes across the magician and the high priestess, okay? So the magician and the high priestess are kind of like, you know, masculine and feminine energies, but it's like the first, I mean, when we think about the journey, it's like life or consciousness, like the very beginning, you know, like, what do you start when you're coming from nothing? And that nothing is not really nothing, it's kind of the void, right? So that is what the high priestess and the magician represent, kind of the coming, the initial start of creation, making something real. Okay, so the magician, they do it with intention, right? They do it with concentration. They're taking their energy. We'll look here at the magician. They have all the tools that they need. Okay, and he is wielding his action to create something. So even a thought, okay, even a thought. So even a thought, like something like, I'm happy, automatically it creates the dual of sadness. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's almost like if I think I'm happy, that's the initial will. I'm thinking I'm happy. It creates the opposite right at the same time. Does that make sense? So that is kind of the role of the magician, but they can wield unlimited power. They can bring anything into this space that they want to bring, right? And the high priestess is kind of a match like that, but it's more of a feminine intuitive perspective, in that, you know, she knows the secrets, but she doesn't necessarily call it forth. You know what I mean? It can stay in the void, but she's aware of it. Am I going too deep with it? Do you guys know what I'm saying? I mean, do you know what does this make sense, or am I getting too esoteric with what I'm trying to say?
No, it's fine. It's fine. It makes total sense.
Okay. So along the journey, the Fool, he meets up with the Empress and the Emperor. Okay. So this is where, and this is, you know, before he meets up. And the reason it's nice to look at this as a journey is it all helps with your interpretation, because the Fool's journey is our journey. Okay, when we can recognize our journey, we can recognize where we are, and we can recognize the trajectory, right? That helps to have insight. You know, if there's what the challenges or the lessons are going to be next. Okay, so like I said, so he comes up to the Empress and the Emperor. Okay, and the Empress is a mother figure. Okay. And, you know, she represents kind of that nurturing, that care, you know, that feeling contented, right? You know, it's mother, right? And then the father, which is the Emperor, represents kind of the structure and the rules, right? Within your family, you know, so real tight knit. Okay. And then you have the Hierophant, which comes after that. And the Hierophant is kind of like, now after the Fool leaves his home, now he's got to go and kind of get an understanding of what maybe the cultural rules are. You know, they got the rules of the Emperor, right? But then you got to go outside of that, and then you kind of get the rules of your system, right? Whatever your system is, right? So moving along there, then you get that, and then you get the Lovers, which is about maybe him, you know, them developing, you know, their sexuality, their passions, right? And then moving on to the Chariot, you know, imagine somebody after they experience, you know, once they realize their sexuality, they're a little older. So now they got to set their own course, right? They get on the Chariot and they realize that they can wield, you know, their decisions to direct their way, you know, to move their life forward. You get knocked down, right? You get knocked down when you set out on this journey, right? You think you're all grown and everything. And that's where strength comes in. Okay. You realize how to cope with setbacks, right? Then you go into the Hermit phase, how to find your own way. And then the Wheel of Fortune. And this is actually the Hermit here. Once you get the Hermit, this is kind of like a mini self-actualization. You know, it's like you got to go through at least these things to kind of come to a place of even beginning to trust your own judgment. I mean, you know, this, you know, to find your self-worth, to even begin to know that, you know, to not seek so much validation outside of others, right? That's the expectation along the journey. Okay. Wheel of Fortune is knowing that fate plays a role in things, you know, how do you cope with that? Then Justice, you know, what's my responsibility to certain situations, you know, right versus wrong. Let me see, let me get down here. The Hangman, about sacrifice. And then Death is when you know, you make this sacrifice and then things have to transform. You know, while he's hanging up on this tree, he's realizing, you know, gosh, I've given to all this stuff. I thought I've learned all these lessons, but then you're realizing the foundation needs to fundamentally change. That's the Death. And then that change brings hardships. So then you have to have balance. And then in that balance, then comes the Devil. And the Devil is where you are trying to get out of things that are comfortable. Okay, so what's comfortable could be seen as like addictions or any kind of cyclical pattern that you're used to. Okay, so this is really about stepping out of your comfort zone, where then the Tower comes, because that shakes up everything. That's like another disruption. And you'll see there's disruptions along the journeys. There's ups and there's downs, right? So after this disruption of the foundation where the Tower comes down, then you have the Star, which is symbolic of hope, okay? And you're in this bliss and you're managing everything. And you're even still in this bliss, in this moon state, but it's like this dreamy bliss, and you're not sure with the moon here of some of the unknown, that this card kind of, that's what it represents, kind of the unknown. It's kind of like after the Star and you're hopeful, it's almost like a dreamy-eyed hopefulness, okay? And you have to deal with some of these unknowns, okay? But once you get, but the Sun, okay, then the Sun brings illumination, okay? And the Sun is actually considered like one of the best cards in the deck, because you have this realization, you're almost to the end of your journey. And then it's like Judgment is like that one last test, right? Like you've been all through this, but did you really learn the lesson? And this is also seen kind of like a, some people call it a karma card. It's judgment, you get out what you put in, it's like for every action there is a reaction, okay? You get your comeuppance with the justice, and then the world is bringing it all together, and, and it's beyond integration, okay? It's completion of that cycle, okay? And then what happens afterwards? You start all over again, okay? And then there's a new lesson to learn. So that is the Fool's Journey. And those are the cards of the major arcana. And I did go through them very quickly because really, you guys are already familiar with the tarot like that. And if you get a tarot, like I said, get a starter deck that has the words on it, use the books that the different tarot card people provide, because they also give you different insights in their insights when they were designing the cards, which is also helpful too, because you'll find that the decks, they have like little personalities about them, just because, the images are different, right? So what it draws from you will be different. Like I have like my first, like, this is like my starter. This is my starter one that has like the words on the bottom. I still consider this my snarky deck. And I mean, because the messages are biting and cutting. And I don't know if I think of that because when I was first starting out, the messages were just so like in your face, because they challenge you. These messages, I mean, it's your intuition, but whatever the energy is, it's connected to something more, right? So, along this journey, you do need to be challenged on your self-love journey. You need to be challenged, and you need to adapt, and you need to grow, and you need to change. And growth is not fun, growing pains, it hurts. And there's a lot of realizations that can be gleaned from using the tarot on this journey. So anybody have anything to say about major arcana or anything about the Fool's Journey? Okay, well, I will move on then to the minor arcana. And the minor arcana are all, yes?
Can you repeat the question? I couldn't hear you well.
You can't hear me?
Did you ask us anything, or because my connection broke off a bit? And
yes, I did ask you if you wanted to share your thoughts on the major arcana, if you had anything to add about the Fool's Journey or your experience with the major arcana, any thoughts?
Well, I'd like to share like a small information about me with the major arcana, because whenever I'm having a reading, always the High Priestess comes out. So I think that's actually true, because I feel like my personality is very linked to this card. So we go back to how energy controls everything with the tarot reading. And a fun fact about this arcana as well is that so many people are scared of the Devil card. I myself, I don't hate it actually, because whenever it pops out, I go through a hard period, but things work out for the better when this hard period ends. So I just don't think that there's any bad card in the tarot. It's just how you progress and how you evolve. And these cards will indicate whether it's going to be the hard way or the easy way. But it's always about self-improving.
Yes. And because I do my own readings, and this might be helpful for you if you decide that you want to start doing it, if it sounds like you get a reading that is not providing the outcome that you are anticipating or would like, I ask, well, how do I make the ending that I want? Let's be clear here, right? Like, what is
I always say that to myself whenever the cards are like, projecting a dark energy or something like that. I always wanted to drift in a more positive way, but I think it does, but not in the way I think it will drift. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, because actually when I first started tarot, I actually I was still married. But it was coming hard. I mean, the messages were coming clear and hard. And I actually, because of, my interactions with the tarot cards and everything, I actually made a same day trip back to visit my father, who was deathly ill, not because my mom said you need to come home and visit your vet, but the cards were like, you need to get home. You know what I mean? And I did it, So this is also for me with the self-love journey in the tarot and spirituality. It's also about being obedient to the journey for transformation as well. It's like some people, I don't take my interactions with the cards lightly. And I don't knock anybody who does, you know what I mean? Use the cards however you want to use it, whatever space you want it to give, but I think eventually it'll grow on you or whatever. But it's not like, like you can use it for fortune telling. Some people, they use tarot for fortune telling, but when you realize the power of it, you use it for self-development, right? You use it really to enhance how you view yourself, how you view the world, and kind of glean what you can contribute, right, on this life. The big questions of why are we here kind of stuff. Those are the fun questions to ask, and what's crazy is you can trust it enough to give you a response. And that's crazy. I mean, not crazy. I shouldn't even use that word, but you know what I mean? It's wild, right? It's woo, right? It's really, really awesome.
And you know what I love about tarot? It doesn't give you like a clear answer. No, do that or don't do that. It's just like it guides you in a way. You know what I mean? So yeah, whenever I'm having a major decision, I always seek a tarot reading. However, I am a practicer. I believe in God. I do practice my religion, but I don't think that tarot interferes with it, because it's like the energy, and even energies are controlled by God in a way, if you're a believer. So I just love the dynamic of tarot reading in general.
Yeah, and that's another topic of what fears or what maybe some negative connotations people have about the tarot. Because for me, yes, I believe that this is me communicating with God. I'm communicating with spirit, energy, whatever. It's all of that, right? So I look at it as very, very spiritual, and I actually, for me, I hold it over my religion. You see what I'm saying? Like those rules. I mean, those things have changed. I've been different kind of Protestants. I was even baptized Catholic when I was a bit, you know what I'm saying? But this right here, me taking the time, me connecting, and all that stuff, that's me really giving the intention and the reverence to the supernatural, right? What's controlling all of this thing.
Exactly. Like you said earlier, it's a way of communicating. It's like a language you have to learn.
I agree. So let's move on here to the minor arcana. So the minor arcana is the rest of the cards, okay? And they are broken down into 4 suits, you guys know, and they have different names, but the cups, can be different things like chalices or something, bowls, whatever, something that holds like a liquid, okay, or something like that. That would be like the cup, and those would represent feelings and emotion. And you'll see these depicted usually with water in the cards. So like, look, this is an Ace of Cups. Okay, so you see how that's the cup, and then the water is overflowing. Okay, so this is about emotional joy, emotional happiness, you know. And then if you just look at the picture, you just look at it's being handed to you. So this is like, it's like a gift of something joyful, right? A gift of something. There's like a dove here. There's something peaceful, right? So you would bring in everything you know about a dove, everything that calls to mind, you know, when you see a dove, you bring all of that into your interpretation. And we'll talk about that more, but that's like your imagination, okay? And how important that is to your readings. But anyway, we'll go through this more quickly. So you got the cups that holds the water, and that's the emotion. Pentacles, that's like the material. That's it could also be things like a job, okay, things related to your employment and stuff like that, because the employment allows for, you know, material. And that's represented usually by, that's like for the earth signs, if it corresponds to your zodiac. Well, I'm not gonna go into much of that, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? You guys know which horoscopes go along with these different suits?
Not really, but I have my guess. I mean, maybe, you know, the cup cards match the water signs, because I feel like these represent emotions, and water signs are very emotional. I mean, personally, I'm a mix of earth and air, but I don't know what are my cards, so I just like guessed with the cups because
perfectly.
Yeah.
You did. You guessed perfectly. So yes, the cups are the water signs, okay? The pentacles are the earth signs. The swords are represented by the air signs, and the wands represented by the fire signs. So the water signs of the tarot are just period. The water signs in the zodiac are your Cancers, your Pisces, and your Scorpios, okay? Your Pentacles are the earth signs, are your Capricorns, your Virgos, and your Tauruses. The swords, which is the air signs, okay, which is associated with thinking and words, you know. So if I look at the swords, if I looked at somebody who was like a king of swords, I think of them as being kind of like somebody who's really good with thinking in their words, so like a lawyer or something like that. Somebody who, you know, real analytical, logical. Okay, that's how I think about it, as the swords. And those are going to be your air signs, which is Aquarius, Libra, Gemini, and then your wands, which is real fiery and active, athletic, you know, willful. These are going to be your fire signs, and those are going to be Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo. So it's real interesting, you know, you'll start to notice how these numbers kind of correspond, you know, they break down just so. Even with the major arcana, you know, you can go to other religions, you know, like the Kabbalah and all that stuff. In these theories and these ideas, they match up very, very nicely, you know, along with all these different symbols. You know, everything kind of comes together in a very beautiful, synchronistic way. So you have the 4 suits, okay? So each suit, okay, so each suit of cups has its own court cards. So each suit of cups has its own king, its own queen, its own knight, and its own page, okay? And that's the same. Pentacles will have its own king of pentacles, its own queen of pentacles, its knight of pentacles, and its page of pentacles. And that'll be the same for all. And then those are the court cards. And then there's the pip cards. And the pip cards are 1 through our ace, start with the ace through 10, okay? So we have the Ace of Cups, or not the cups, why did I say that? The Ace of Swords, the Two of Swords, the Three of Swords, the Four of Swords, right? And if you remember back and all the way up to, you know, the 10, and each one of these has a meaning, right? It has its own little unique meaning, but if you look at the numbers, it's all generally starting from initiation through completion, right? So in the case of the swords, when you get an Ace of Swords, it's like, how, you know, this is this new, you know, this new clarity, this awareness, right? Something's been revealed, right? It's new, okay? And then now we got, okay, we got two revealed. We got two, I don't know which one to choose. I'm kind of blocked here, right? And then this is, actually, this is like a heartbreak card, but this is about, you know, remember the 3 is about, let's go back to our 3. Creativity and enthusiasm. Well, that's interesting because actually this Three of Swords cards, this Three of Sword card here, this is actually like the heartbreak card. Okay. This is the heartbreak card. And then the Four of Swords is kind of, you know, the 4 is about stability. This is kind of like a healing card. Okay, so you can kind of see how, you know, they go together. I mean, I have in my mind what these cards like mean in my mind, but even if I didn't, taking into the numbers and knowing that things go kind of sequentially, and then utilizing the color and all this stuff, you can glean a message even if you don't have the specific meaning that that book gave you, you know, but it helps. It helps to learn letters before you learn words, right? But you can do that. Some people can, you know, talk a whole language and not know how to read, right? So it helps to go in order, of course, but utilizing everything gives you better context to make your interpretations. So then I wanted, and now I want to bring in the importance of your imagination. So like I said, what brought me to this journey is I had a difficult marriage, and then I had a difficult divorce, you know, and all those things. So it was, I kind of came into that whole space. So I was learning about the tarot. I was also like a shamanic apprentice. I mean, I just dove in. I was just doing all that stuff. I was like, help me. Right. So one of the challenges I had was that when we were trying to do these visualizations and stuff, a part of me felt, I felt limited. I felt silly. I was like, I can't just imagine something. I mean, like it may be a vision, like just popped in my, you know, my mind, like if that I can recognize it as a wolf or something like that, I'd feel more comfortable. But you really want to not limit yourself with that back and forth you have on yourself of, is this realistic? Does this make sense? Am I being silly? Am I really imagining this? Is it because I'm trying to imagine this? You know, but you really want to just release and let your imagination and your intuition, because your intuition is guiding your imagination to bring what it is that's coming to mind into the readings. Because it's surprising. Half the times, like I do stuff, like I'll say stuff off the cuff, and I won't mean to say it, or it'll just be something off the cuff, but then that'll be the most relevant thing that the person's like, oh, wow, that's how I know that this is my message. So that's why you just want to just give way to it, you know, release yourself to it. Okay, so what do you guys think? Where are you guys? Oh, you guys are, okay, can I read some of this? Okay. Okay, temperance. Oh, this is perfect. Okay, good. So he knows the thing. So the emperor, okay, the emperor is Aries, okay, which is a fire sign. And let me show you the emperor, okay? So the emperor, you'll see here is Aries, right? But in the fire sign, and then look at all that red. Do you see how, I mean, this even like this whole, all this that looks like fire, right? So that's how these things kind of come together, how you can use, you know, your sense of color and how a card makes you feel in your interpretation, okay? Taurus is represented by the Hierophant. And so sometimes when you know this too, like me, I'm a Capricorn. So when I see devil, it's not like, it's not the end of the world. You know, I know it could just be a Capricorn, right? So just like Marine's letting us know, the Gemini is the lovers, Cancer is the Chariot, Leo is the Strength. So you guys can you all read this? Okay, but that's the thing. So you can also find yourself in the reading sometimes as your signifier, if you're using maybe your sun sign or your moon or your rising or something like that.
Yeah, so it explains why I don't mind getting the devil in my readings. I'm an Aquarius Capricorn cusp, so yeah, that's why I do get a lot of devil in my readings, and it doesn't bother me.
It's probably not supposed to. It's probably just saying this is you. Just trying to, get some anchors to all these cards,
Yeah,
right?
devil was once an angel, so I'll take that as a compliment.
Wonderful. So like here we have let's say we have a 3-card spread here, okay? So let's go with any questions or anything people want to say before we play with what these cards might mean. Anybody want to share?
Why is Capricorn represented by the devil?
Okay, well that's a deep question. Okay, it has a lot steeped in history. Okay, so the devil, it comes across as the devil, but I guess if you go back to pagan history or Egyptian or whatever, it's supposed to be the spirit of, like, it was Pan, like in the pagan, there were different gods for, like, who did different things, like playful and stuff like that. So it's not so much, I don't think over time, everything in this space has been deemed devilish, right? And cult is seen, like demon and bad and stuff like that. But really, it's just like you said, it's just an energy. It's the energy of releasing these attachments we have to the material world. You know what I mean? As we're moving on our journey.
Yeah,
to
Capricorn, very material. So maybe like it's a sign for us to just stop being material.
Or to challenge whatever that material attachment, whatever damage or negative impact is having in our life.
Yeah,
releasing that which doesn't serve us. And that's why you don't want to get caught on necessarily one direct meaning for one particular card, because like the devil, you can say, oh, that's addictions, and people, oh, somebody's drug addicted. You know what I mean? Well, it's like, it's a little bit more nuanced than that, right? Because an abusive relationship is an addiction too, right? A toxic relationship, that cyclical, not getting out of what you're used to doing, a negative coping strategy, right? That could also be represented by the devil.
Yes. And I have another question. Maybe I'm being selfish a little bit by asking this question.
No, I love it. Thank you.
Yes. As I told you earlier, I'm a Capricorn Aquarius cusp, but I've never had the star card in my readings. So so does your horoscope indicates what cards will you be getting all the time, or not necessarily?
Yeah, I would never say all the time. I'm surprised you never got a star card. I mean, got a star card.
Never got star card.
Okay, like if you only had like 5 readings, but yeah, it's like generally most cards come out at some point. But that would be a question. Why don't I ever get the star card? I would ask. I don't think that means anything. It depends on the question that I think you're asking, because the star card itself is about kind of hope, right? And renewal. And everybody feels that at some point, I guess it depends on if you're asking the right question at the right time. but I don't think it would mean anything. I mean, when you say you never get the star card, even though you're an
Yeah,
Aquarius, you're like, why am I not getting it when I'm an Aquarius cusp?
exactly.
That's what you're saying. Yes. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I never, no, I don't recall getting the star card, so that's weird. I never knew a star card is linked to Aquarius from the start, but now when I think about it, it's very weird that I never got it.
And I would also say, I mean, if you're interested in astrology in that way, we have all these different placements also that also can be relevant. You
Yeah,
may find that you're
maybe.
getting another card more, and that could be more of the energy
Yeah,
that you're in. It's another science, it feels like.
I know my chart, and I'm very Aquarius Capricorn dominated. So yeah, my rising is Capricorn, and my sun is Capricorn, and my moon is Capricorn, and I have Aquarius in my sun and in other planets as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
so
That's a lot of the Capricorn. So if you see the devil, I mean, that makes sense.
yeah,
With all that.
there's a lot of Capricorn in my chart. That's true. And the weird thing is that I have a water sign in Venus. So just you can imagine the contradiction I have in life.
I can tell you a funny story about me too, because I'm a Capricorn is my sun, and my moon and my my rising is Cancer. And it was funny because when I first started, you know, my business or whatever, have you guys ever heard of the Astro Twins? Have you ever heard of them?
Yeah. Yes, Capricorn and Cancer maybe are Astral Twins. Am I correct? I don't know if I'm correct.
Well, I know they're opposite. They're opposite.
Yeah, like
But
they're
the
very
Astro-
similar.
Okay, but the Astral Twins that I'm talking about, they're sisters. They're two women, and they're sisters, and they're phenomenal. They have a whole business, and they used to be, you know, they used to edit.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know, Restyle or something like that.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about, you know, astrology sisters, like the sister signs.
No. They are actually sisters but they
Oh.
have like a website, and that all they do is astrology. So what they did though, which was awesome, is that they were creating, you know, a thing, you know, where they were helping entrepreneurs. And so they used my business as like the starting, you know what I mean? Like as the prototype, you know, for the thing. And so they were telling me that, you know, I'm a Capricorn and I'm supposed to have all this, you know, my money together. I'm supposed to be all material and stuff like that. But with me being a Cancer, they're like, no wonder you're not making any money. This is why, you know, and they were able to piece all of this stuff together based on, yes, I'm a Capricorn sun, but, you know, all these other placements in my chart was able to tell them, you know, about my life, my business, you know, all that stuff. It was really fascinating. It was really fascinating.
Exactly. I'm a strong believer in horoscope. It does tell a lot about one's personality.
So you said that you don't do readings yourself. Does anybody here do readings or provide readings to others?
Yara was with us, but she left because her grandmother had an emergency. If you want, I can ask her to come back if you want to.
No, not at all. Just tell her, thank her for joining and sharing her story.
Okay.
Well, we'll just play with what we have here then. Okay. So this is a 3-card spread, like I showed earlier. So if I was going to read this, okay, we have what's here is the 2 of Wands. So let's do a past, present, future. Okay. So let's say this is a 3-card spread. And this is me not, and this is with me not pulling. This is just me kind of showing you how I interpret. Okay. When I actually do a reading, I shuffle the cards several times. I have my own little way of shuffling. And here, I can actually show you that. So you shuffle the cards, but then after you shuffle them, I set them out in piles of 3, okay, like this. And then I take, you know, the middle one, put it over this one and put it over that one. That's just something that I always do, okay? And like, I think it was your friend who said that the cards pop out for her. That's how I do mine too. So if I was going to do a spread, see how that one fell out? That's would be my card that I take. Some people, they do the same thing. They make 3 piles and then they just grab the top off, you know, they just grab the top off the pile because the shuffling itself, you know, does whatever magic is done or whatever. But me, I let them kind of pop out. So that's where this would come out. So I would do that shuffling, and let's say that these cards popped out, okay, for a 3-card spread, and that I was going to do a past, present, future. Okay, so the first, for in the past, I would see that I had a 2 of Wands, okay? So when you think of Wands, we talked about that being what? The Wands were fire, the Wands were desire, action, and there are more things, okay? This is just the basic, okay? So when you think about the 2 of Wands, you're coming from the 1, right? So the 1, the initial wand would be like inspiration, this great, you know, kind of this passion, this drive, this will to do something. And when it's by itself, it's also considered kind of a, like a sexual card, because the 1 shaft by itself is, represents, like, you know, the phallus or whatever. So now that there's 2, it's like what we had with the sword, this kind of duality. It's kind of, you know, how do I begin to formulate this action? It's like making a plan, right? Like, how do I bring this, this action forward? How do I do it? How do I do what I want to do? It's right after the 1. Okay, so what's the next step? So it's like this planning, okay? So this person, I'm looking like in the past, I would say this person was planning something, okay? And then maybe I'd go into what they were wearing, okay? So they're wearing yellow. I was like, oh, they're confident about the plans they have for the future, okay? Because I would look at which direction is he looking at? Well, he's looking towards his future this way. And I don't know. And I think culture, like maybe, I don't know. Do you guys read the other way? Like, would you read the future as the other way? How do you, I mean, would going to the right be viewed as being towards the future for you guys?
I don't know. I'll like throw a guess. It will be just based on the picture that I'm seeing. So I feel like someone has a choice to make, and it's between something they're passionate about or something that they are successful at. I don't
Wow.
know
Now,
if
how
that's
did you choose that? What made you talk about passion?
I don't know, maybe the cup, the card of cups.
Okay, so you're reading all 3 together.
Yeah, all 3 together. I don't know if that's like correct or not.
No, that's perfect. I could have read that same thing though. It looked like you were reading that from the 1 card. Because when you said, I asked you, where'd you get the passion from? I was like, oh, she must have been talking about his little red hat there. Because that could work with that too.
Yes,
do you see that?
I have it, the color of the hat. And now I zoomed in and I saw that it's red and it works as well.
Wow. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, and like maybe he's traveling because like he's holding a planet Earth in his hand.
Okay, see, that is exactly what you do. The maybe. Yeah, keep doing the maybes. And then you'll find that it resonates like perfectly. You know what I'm saying? So that's that's perfect. That's perfect. So yeah. So we have the 2 of Wands, and you read the whole thing. But yeah, so, and then we have somebody who is the King of Pentacles. So they've reached and attained some status, right? And the Pentacles is what? The Pentacle is like the material. Sensation. Okay, so he's probably eating good, right? He's probably got, you know, like the sheet count's probably high, right? You know what I'm saying? So this is like, he's the king of it. So he's abundant, he's wealthy, okay? So that I'm looking at this, they're looking at that because they think that's going to bring them, at the most simplest version, you know, happiness and joy, which is being handed here from on high, such that their cup runneth over with all this goodness. And it's got this dove here, which is all peaceful, right? And happy. And, you know, if we think about it long enough, like if I can remember exactly, that cross means something, you know, these symbols, they mean something as you go through the different cards. So I have some other cards here and we can play with together. We can play together with what they mean. But this is my Woo Child experience. I've actually been practicing and learning on the channel, you know, so now, I mean, you know, in the beginning, you'll see it was rough, and then you'll see kind of like my style kind of changes, and it'll continue to change, you know, but there's been some nuggets in there. That's why I felt it important to share how helpful it's been in providing for me to take the time for the space, right, to connect with spirit for my self-healing, on top of the actual messages, right, to help me along my journey, you know, as the fool in this journey, right, to self-actualization and to reaching my highest potential, which I don't know yet. And that's what's so crazy about, I keep using the word crazy, but that's what's so amazing about the spiritual journey, is like this obedience that I would never have thought that I had the opportunity to talk to you guys, or to know that in Lebanon there was a spirituality community. You know, I mean, that's why I really want you to get her back on, because I want to hear about more of that. But you don't know what's out there. Like if I was in this, if I'm in the devil energy as the Capricorn, you don't know what you don't know. So you have to step out of your comfort zone. You got to do things. I learned tarot, and then, you know, was courageous enough to bring this and share, you know, just what I've learned, when there's people who've been doing it for 6 years and, you know, have their own experience too. So it's about just serving with love and being obedient to the journey. And tarot helps me with the signposts along the journey. So that's the overview of how I would approach it. And then I was just going to play with you guys and kind of look at these cards and practice and see what your guys' intuitive hits are around these different cards. So I'll take any questions and insights from you guys at this point.
Well, no more questions about tarot. It's like a question about you. How can we reach you if we want to get a tarot reading?
Well, if you go to the Woo Child experience, I can do it there, but we can do one right now if you want. If you wanted to do it, I mean, I don't know if there's anybody. How many people are on here? There's only like 4 people on here, right? Oh no, we have some more people on here. Oh, hi guys. Okay, there's more people than I thought on here. I was going to do, we could have done one right here. And we probably still can if you wanted to, but it's personal, it's private. Yeah, you could just go to the Woo Child experience. Or you could just email me.
Okay.
Yeah, just email me. Because what I like to do when I do them is I make the video and then I just send you, it's a private link, like only you can see it. You see what I'm saying? So it's still on YouTube, but it's unlisted. I send you the link so that it's private.
Only people who get the link can see it. Okay. But I mean, I don't mind it being public. So
okay,
I'm not
so
like if you want to do it right now, I don't mind. But if you don't feel like doing it, I totally understand. I can email you later and we're good.
Yeah, okay. So let's see if there's any thoughts or questions from people, you know, if they want to unmute themselves and ask something, or if they want to, if they have any questions about how to use color, or anybody? Okay, let me read this question here. Okay, somebody, okay, so Raheen says, start something new. Okay, this is when we are looking at the 2 of Wands. Start something new by leaving the comfort zone. Yes. Present, you're looking forward to find someone who can guide you in this journey. Okay. And then future, you have started anew and you've got amazing new opportunities. See? So it, you know, amazingly, we all come to kind of the same idea, past, present, future. Anybody can say, well, everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end. But we were able to, everybody was kind of able to address kind of the how to take action, this seeking mentorship, where you'd seek mentorship from somebody who has success, right? In that material realm, right? And then this cup, and about the emotions and the cup running. So we all read this same language. We all got this same meaning, right? So I don't know. So I think that's why these readings can resonate for people, and people have their own style of how they come to resonating to certain things. But how it works, again, is the question of the ages, right? Specifically.
Hi, Symone, can you hear me?
Anybody else? Yes, I can hear you.
Lovely, Symone. Symone, there's one more pretty funny thing going on in my life. It's like I always see numbers, same number pattern. Does it occur to you as well that you see the same number over and over again?
The same number in the cards or in my head, or what do you mean?
Like you're watching time, it's certain number. You're going to buy something. You see
Oh,
the bill,
yes, I call them angel numbers.
Yeah.
Yes, that's like the angel numbers. And that was really what's got me into spirituality strong. Because not only, and this is my personal thing, but yes, the numbers. So like when you see 111 and all that stuff, that's what's defined as signs and synchronicities, like not poo-pooing things that are a little bit more than coincidence. If you keep waking up at 3:12 in the middle of the night, you don't want to dismiss that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you know that you're not, taking in too much water right before you go to bed, it's like that. It's like, well, why am I waking up at 3:12 every night for the past, 7 nights, let's say, and stuff. It's weird like that. Or why am I seeing, 444? Like I saw it on the clock. I saw it in a license plate. I saw it at the, you know what I'm saying? Like those numbers, pay attention. Or why is it if I get, or certain things happen at a certain time. So I think you're exactly right. Pay attention to those numbers. And what I would recommend, there is a website called Joanne Scribes, and here, I'm going to pull it up. Well, I can't pull it up here, but Joanne Scribes angel numbers, because you can Google the number, right? And there'll be a slew of options that you get of what this angel number means. But I particularly, use Joanne Scribes angel numbers, and that has been invaluable. She has done really well with the numbers, and you just put whatever number it is, and there's a meaning using her, using the numerology, scientific method of addressing those numbers. But you'll be amazed. So don't dismiss the numbers that you see repeatedly at all.
On it.
Does it have to be a special number, or it can be any number?
Any number. And that's like a whole nother language. You know what I'm saying? Like, how we talked about the tarot being, the numbers are a language too, because then you got to think about, and let me state again, I am a clinical psychologist. I am fully aware that how this stuff can sound like, you got to really make sure, is it delusional? Okay, let's act like all that is out the window and everybody's cool. Okay. But so you want to note the numbers that you keep seeing, right? And then you want to notice what is the circumstances of the numbers that you're, when you're seeing these numbers, right? And then you're going to tap into, Joanne Scribes, angel number or whatever. You're going to Google that. And then you're going to take in the message. And then you have another kind of intuitive tool by recognizing the synchronicities of numbers that are just another spiritual tool in your arsenal.
True that, Symone. Let me add one thing here. I never noticed myself about these numbers. You know what happened? When I was having a hard time, I always used to see 404, 444 all the time. So when I start reading about it, it has to do with protection, and angels are with you and guardians and stuff like that. So whenever I see 1155 or 555, that means I am about to fight with someone, and it does happen. That the change occur. So these things are naturally, whenever I see number, I say, okay, let's Google it. What is all about? But this is happening with me
Yes.
a lot, way too much. So now you have guided me. I will go and read more about it because it's very good guidance.
Yes. Yes. It's almost like they're tapping your shoulder, right? Or the energies, God is we need to, I'm talking to you. that's what it comes. And because that's what it feels like. And I'm going to tell you honestly, I mean, let's just let it all out. And for me, it wasn't even just seeing the numbers, but it would be almost like a little whisper, or a little, like, it just felt like a little feather in the ear, and that's would be like my tap to look at the numbers.
See, spirits on us,
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So anybody else have any, so I thank you for that numbers thing. That is huge. That is huge. You guys pay attention to the numbers. Joanne Scribe's angel numbers. I mean, I don't trust anybody else with the numbers. So I would highly recommend that, that website. But anybody else? Okay, well, let's play around. Well, not play around, but let's look at, say, the sun. So this is a major arcana, right? So this is, what did we say on the Fool's Journey? We were talking about, so this is close to the end of the journey, right? And the sun card is actually considered kind of like the happiest card of the deck. Whenever supposedly it comes into a spread, it kind of lightens the spread. It just elevates the energies or whatever. But again, what colors do we see here? Why do we see this as the most happy, the most joyful card of the deck? Is we got yellow, right, which is happy. Sunflowers, happy. And then we have the red and the orange, which is passion. We have a child here, which signifies either children or like rebirth. And so the other colors here, other than yellow, the happiness, joyful yellow, and the passionate red, and the creative orange, we have the wall and the horse. They kind of are coming off here like kind of whitish, right? So that has the symbolism of kind of purity and renewal, along with the child is purity and renewal and joy. So that's how you get happy card, right? That's how when you read this card and how this card looks totally different from the devil, right? We don't have the same kind of brightness, right? And so you would pay attention to that. Okay, that would bring you that mood, that mood change from to oof, right? Well, that means something. Okay, and you would use that in your reading. So I also wanted to show you guys the difference between the devil and the lovers, so that you can tell me what you think the similarities and differences are. We know what the lovers is. Lovers is love, right? This is when the what is it? The fool is coming into sexuality, right? After what is it? The Hierophant of organized beliefs and religions and stuff like that. And I wanted to see how you compared that to the devil. Do you see similarities?
Well, kind of, yes. I don't know if it's philosophical, but I feel like the lover is a card of hypocrisy. I don't know why, but like the devil shows its true color. So I took it in the same way, but one's with like a mask on it and the other one raw and genuine.
Which one is genuine?
The devil one is more genuine. It's
Okay.
dark. It knows it's dark, and the card is okay with it being dark. Yet the lover's card is, kind of like, yeah, no, it lies kind of, because I think it's trying to hide the dark aspect of it with bright colors and stuff. But I just feel like, it's very, it's like, very, I don't know how to put it in words, but like, I feel it's the same card, one being genuine, the other is wearing a mask.
Wow. And you look at the lovers being the one that's wearing a mask. I think it's interesting that I love hearing that perspective. I really do. Because I see your point. I do. And I'm drawn to what you said about hypocrisy. I thought that was really interesting because this card is known as being a card of choices. Okay. And in the same way, this gentleman, he's looking at the feminine, the masculine is looking at the feminine is looking up towards kind of the heavens. This is supposed to be, are you going to choose kind of your lower self, or your higher self? So I can see, to me, when you say hypocrisy, that at this signpost, the right from the wrong, which way you can go and which one are you going to choose. And hypocrisy would come probably if you know better and you still choose kind of a lower or base level decision.
It comes from men, basically.
Say it one more time.
It comes from men. So
okay.
We're not men.
Okay, I got it. But yeah, I think it's interesting how similar they are, except with this, with the devil, you said that you thought they were more free, but here, and they are relatively free because you see there's chains around their neck, okay, and they're bound. Okay, so this speaks to kind of that toxicity, that being tied to something, when really they don't have to be tied to something because the opening in these chains are bigger than their heads. They could get out of this. This is something that they could walk away from.
Always your choice to make. But with the devil's card, the devil is telling you that I am toxic and you have the choice to leave. Yet the lover's card is telling you that I am toxic, but I'm keeping you tied with this toxic dynamic relationship, whatever is happening with you.
And each card, you want to read it next to the cards that are in the spread. Like if this was a one card, but when they're together, they play off of each other. Like when I read this, when I said he's looking towards the future, what is he looking towards? Oh, he's looking towards trying to be more abundant. He's looking towards trying to be more prosperous, right? He's looking to be like him, right? And then you can get into the emperor's head, and the emperor, I can see like, yeah, and I was remembering when I didn't know what I was going to do, and I was trying to find a way. I mean, you can actually go into the card and speak for the characters, and that'll help you in your interpretations as well, giving your characters a voice. You see how I just did that? How I'm looking at the face. I'm looking at the face of the emperor and saying, well, what does he even think about who he's looking at? What does he think about that? He sees himself in that little, he's remembering, he sees himself when he was just starting out. So like Maheen had said about in her thing of viewing this person as a mentor, I can totally see her point of view, how it fleshes out like that. So this person might be a mentor and might help this person as they try to come up because they want to be like him. So now this person is a mentor.
And it can work both ways. So if the other party is young or the other party is older, I mean, if they're young, they are like looking up to a mentor, and if they're old, they're like seeing an apprentice. They're seeing themselves in their apprentice.
Fantastic. Exactly. See, look, see, there you go. But it is all about practice and trusting, and you're already trusting your intuition. You see what I'm saying? You're already free to trust. You know what I'm saying? And that's the biggest hurdle. I think. Let me see. I cannot see I lost my view of, let me see. Why can't I see my Zoom people? I can't see you guys. Let me see. Hold on. Okay. Are you guys still there?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. I can't, for some reason, I cannot see. It's no big deal. I can just be able to pull this up here. Okay, there you go. So that's all I have. I mean, what do you guys want to ask or share? I mean, because you guys, please, you guys are 6 years in. You guys have been doing tarot. Is there anyone here who wants to share their nuggets? No?
Symone, I want to add one thing, that when I started playing with cards, I was trying to just, engage myself towards positive thoughts, and probably positive practices. So one thing I want to add to the people, whoever is listening, tarot has to do with guidance, with symbols, with numbers, with colors, with story behind each card. It's a whole different world. And like you said, Symone, it started, I think, since the beginning of time. We don't know, but it's very much there. And it connects, I believe it connects the universe itself, the both side of the universe. So when you try to read the card for anyone, for yourself, for fun, take the lessons out of it. Take the characters and enjoy those characters. And believe me, when you read them and live your life, you feel those characters right in front of you. So it's really helped you to guide what to do next. And if you predict the future, you can mold that future. It really, really helps you. If nobody's there, talk to your cards. It really, give you guidance. Talk to them. So this is what my part of tarot journey that I started 2 years back.
I love it. And I love it for the guidance it provides me. And I also love it for the clarity it gives me, even, the guidance it provides for the now that I'm in. Do you see what I'm saying? Because I can be, it's a journey. This is about self-exploration, and we don't see our own blind spots, right? But it's almost like the tarot is a way for you to see your own blind spot and deal with it and work through it, and then it allows the guidance on how to work through it.
Exactly, Symone. Exactly, Symone. And when I'm stuck, you're always there. Symone, help me out. And you're there. Yeah. So it's like this.
Thank you. Well, I just, I thank you guys for sharing this time with me. I'm welcome. I'm please come get a reading. I'll come back for any workshop or anything. But this has been a real pleasure. Thank you for allowing me to have this on my journey, to actually talk with my tribe. I developed a channel because I'm trying to find my tribe, people I can, speak openly about this stuff. Because I was a little hesitant with the angel numbers. So thank you who brought up the angel numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very much there. It's very much there. One has to be very observant what's going on around you. The universe is very much with you. I don't know what your religion is, but I believe in spirits. They're always there to guide you. There's another dimension there with you. Just try to be very observant. Try to listen to them. There are tons of guides around you. Just go with it.
Yeah, and as you go on your tarot journey, and as you are opening yourself and trusting yourself and being more obedient, like it is a possibility that your psychic abilities can be enhanced, because I have noticed, you know, kind of my sensitivity has strengthened, you know, to that.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Well, thank you. Is that it, or do you think we have other questions?
We have no. We have thank you note for you from Asma. She is very nice coach, and she owns her own coaching venture, Brain Talks, Asma Nani. And she is thanking you for the session, and she loves it. And you know, Symone,
Yes.
Asma is herself, she's amazing. I find a lot of answers with her. She is doing what we call it. We call it psychology, but she's actually giving you the right practices to actually how to deal with the emotions and the challenges that you feel upfront, and how to actually deal with that. So her session is more about empowerment and finding the right answers and how to deal with grace. So yeah.
Oh, it's so needed. I definitely want to participate in that. I mean, because ultimately that's what this is all about, helping people in transition.
Indeed.
Right.
Indeed.
What are all the tools to address the spiritual, the emotional, the mental, the physical? How does it all come together? That's
yeah. So everyone, please join her channel. I follow her, like every day. I listen to her videos, and I actually find some of the answers, and I like, okay, fine, I got it. I got my answer. So please do follow her. And I have sent you the link. Please go through that. And yes, Symone, anything that would you like to add?
I just want to share one little thing that I did along my journey that I found helpful, just as a tool, because sometimes I get lost in the readings and I get ahead of myself, and I'm kind of perfectionist, and maybe I rush things too far or whatever. But what I did was to help me kind of understand my language, because what's going to happen is, like we talked about, how you see the cards and view colors, and what your experience is with the dove might be a different experience than I have with the dove. So, you know what I mean? And all that stuff is, I would get a song in my head, or it started with me getting a song in my head, like, whatever song that's very familiar to you. And I would do a reading on that song. And the reading that came out, and for me, this is how it was able, I'm so happy it worked this way, but I could get a reading for that song, and it helped me. It was like kind of reverse translating, you know what I'm saying? So what I knew the song meant based on the cards, it helped me learn the language. And so if you do go to my channel, you will also see that I have what's called like Tarot Oracle that tunes. And that's where I, get these little insights or intuitive hits to do certain songs. And so I'll do readings on certain songs. Okay. So like there was this one song by the Spinners, I'll be working my way back to you, babe, and it was just one of those download songs, whatever. But then when I actually did the reading, it was very clear, and you can find it on the channel, that we're dealing with, a toxic, abusive relationship, right? And here's this guy, working his way back. But you know what I mean? But all these things are kind of fleshed out in the readings. So I think that helped me with my learning of the tarot. And then, so then I also just brought that over to the channel. So just wanted to add that.
All right.
So thank you.
So everyone, thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Symone, for taking that time for us. And we would wait for your next session. Believe me, we would. And I cannot wait for your next video. I hope tonight you will upload some, or no? Tomorrow.
Okay.
So yeah,
I sure will.
So I will be waiting for your video. All right. So thank you, everyone. Symone, take good care of yourself. Thank you, Asma, for joining. Thank you, Penelope. Thank you, Neelam. So yes. So thank you, everybody.
So much.
Take care.
Thank you, Miss. Really, it was very insightful. I had, this is maybe the best webinar I've attended in these past few days, because something I really love and I'm really passionate about. And the way you explained it was truly amazing. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Well, till next time then, okay? We'll do it again.
Sure, sure.
Yes,
sure.
definitely. I'm looking
Okay.
forward to
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Take care.